The transport ship dropped out of hyperspace with a loud hum. Through the small window, Kong Taeho saw the Galactic Military Academy for the first time. It was huge, bigger than any city he had ever seen on Earth. The station floated in space. Like a metal moon, covered in lights and docking ports. Tahoe pressed his face to the glass. His hands were shaking a little. He was nervous, but also excited. He was the first human to come to this place in over 100 years. His people had finally been accepted into the Galactic Alliance. This was his chance to prove that humans belonged here. "Attention passengers," the ship's computer said in a cold voice. "We are now docking at the Academy. All new cadets report to Level 7. Taeho grabbed his small bag. It held everything he owned. Some clothes, a few photos from home, and a letter from his sister Sumin. She had written it the night before he left Earth. He had not opened it yet. He was saving it for when things got hard. The docking bay was massive. Hundreds of aliens walked around talking in languages Taeho could not understand. His translator. Device buzzed in his ear trying to keep up. Some aliens looked like giant insects. Others had scales like snakes. A few floated in the air without legs. Taeho felt very small and very alone. "You must be the human," a voice said behind him. Taeho turned around. A tall alien stood there, looking down at him. The alien had green scales and yellow eyes like a lizard. His uniform had many medals on it. "Yes, sir," Taeho said. "I am Kang Taeho from Earth." The alien's eyes narrowed. "I'm Commander Valthor. I run the training programs here." He looked Taeho up and down like he was studying a bug. "You are smaller than I expected." "I am average size for a human, sir." Commander Valthor made a sound like a snake laughing. "Average? Yes, I suppose you are." He turned and started walking. "Follow me, human. Try to keep up." The commander walked fast on his long legs. Taeho had to almost run to follow him. He went through long hallways filled with other cadets. Everyone stopped to stare at Taeho. He heard whispers in many different languages. His translator caught some of the words. Primitive, weak. How did they get here? "The Academy has trained the best warriors in the galaxy for 3,000 years, Commander Velthar said as they walked. "We have cadets from over 200 worlds. Each species brings their own strengths. The Korthok have natural armor." He pointed to some cadets that looked like walking rocks. "It can fly. Bird-like aliens soared overhead. The Hydrants can breathe underwater and in space." "What do humans bring?" Taeho asked. Commander Velthor stopped walking. His yellow eyes stared at Taeho for a long moment. "That is what we are here to find out." They reached a large room filled with desks. About 50 alien cadets sat inside, all looking at Taeho. Commander Velthar pointed to an empty desk in the back. "Sit," he said. "Try not to embarrass your species on your first day." Taeho walked to his desk. Every eye in the room followed him. Sat down and tried to look confident. Inside, his heart was beating fast. An insect-like alien with 4 arms sat next to him. She had big black eyes and made clicking sounds when she breathed. "I am Dr. Nixara," she said. Her voice was like the sound of wind through leaves. "I study different species. I am very interested in humans." "Nice to meet you," Taeho said. "Tell me, Dr. Nix." Era clicked her mandibles together. "What makes humans special? Your people only discovered faster than light travel 50 years ago. Most species take thousands of years to reach that level. Yet here you are." Taeho thought about this. "I do not know. Just keep trying, I guess." Even when things are hard, Dr. Nixara made more clicking sounds. She was writing notes on a data pad with 2 of her arms while talking to him with. "The other 2, fascinating," she said. "Keep trying. Yes, that is very human." The first class was galactic history. The teacher was a floating jellyfish-like creature that spoke in bubbles. Taeho understood most of it. Earth's education system had prepared him well for the academic parts. But then came physical training. The gym was enormous. Obstacle courses filled the space, each one designed for different alien body types. Some courses went up tall walls. Others went through water tanks. A few had gravity fields that pulled in different directions. Today we test your basic abilities, Commander Velthair announced to the class. Each cadet will complete the Universal Fitness Assessment. Teho watched as other cadets completed the course. The rock-like Korthok smashed through barriers that would have stopped a tank. The flying Zephyrians soared over obstacles in seconds. The multi-armed hexapods climbed walls like spiders. Then it was Teho's turn. He started running. The first obstacle was a wall 3 times his height. The other cadets had either flown over it or smashed through it. Teho had to climb. His hands got scraped on the rough surface. It took him twice as long as anyone else. The next obstacle was a pit filled with thick mud. The hydrants had swum through it easily. The floating aliens had drifted over it. Mud on his hands and knees. The mud got in his mouth and eyes. He could hear some cadets laughing. By the time he finished the course, Teho was covered in mud and bleeding from small cuts. He came in last place, much slower than everyone else. Commander Velthor looked at his datapad and shook his head. Disappointing, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Perhaps the Alliance made a mistake accepting humans. That night, Teho sat alone in his small room. His body hurt all over. He pulled out the letter from his sister Suman and finally opened it. Dear brother, it said, I know you are scared. I know the other species think we are weak. But remember what grandfather used to say. Humans do not give up. Ever. We may not be the strongest or the fastest, but we are still here. We survived the ice ages. We survived wars. We survived plagues. We survived everything this universe threw at us. You will survive too. Make us proud. Love, Suman. Teho folded the letter carefully and put it under his pillow. Tomorrow would be another day of tests, another day of proving himself. But his sister was right. Humans did not give up. He did not know that Commander Velthor and Dr. Nixara were meeting at that very moment, discussing his performance. The human is weak, Commander Velthor said. Finished last in every physical test. But did you see how he completed the course? Dr. Nixara replied, clicking thoughtfully. He never stopped trying, even when hurt. Even when others laughed. That is, ... unusual. Unusual does not win battles. Perhaps Dr. Nixara said, but I think this human needs a more thorough test. Something that will show us what he is really. Made of Commander Velthor's eyes gleamed in the dark. Yes, I think you are right. It is time to use the final examination protocol. Neither of them noticed the small surveillance device in the corner of the room powering up. Deep in the Academy's lower levels, something stirred in the darkness, something that had been waiting for its next test subject. The Academy's apex predator was about to meet its first human. 3 levels below the Academy's main training areas, in a place most cadets never saw, Dr. Nixara walked down a dark hallway. Her 4 arms carried different datapads. Each one showed information about the Academy's most secret project. The hallway ended at a massive steel door. Warning signs covered it in 12 different languages. All of them said the same thing. Danger, authorized personnel only. Dr. Nixara placed her hand on a scanner. The door opened with a loud hiss. Inside was a laboratory filled with tanks, computers, and monitoring equipment. But Dr. Nixara only looked at one thing. In the center of the room stood a giant glass cage. It was 30 feet tall and 50 feet wide. Thick metal bars ran between the glass panels. Inside the cage, something moved in the shadows. Good morning, my beautiful creation, Dr. Nixara said softly. The thing in the shadows stopped moving. 2 red eyes opened in the darkness. They were as big as dinner plates and glowed like fire. The eyes stared at Dr. Nixara with intelligence. Cold, hungry intelligence. This was the Void Stalker. Dr. Nixara had spent 20 years creating it. She had taken the DNA from the deadliest predators across the galaxy. From her home world of Nixara Prime, she used the Shadow Cats. They could move without making any sound. They could become almost invisible in darkness. From the hive worlds of the Outer Ring, she took the pack hunters called Blood Raptors. They were smart enough to work together, smart enough to set traps for their prey. They never gave up a hunt. Once they started, from the void between stars, she captured something that had no name. It lived in the cold, empty space between worlds. Could survive anywhere. It could track prey across light years by scent alone. Dr. Nixara had mixed all of these traits together. The result was the Void Stalker. It was 8 feet tall and covered in black fur that seemed to drink light. It had 6 legs, each ending in claws as sharp as knives. Its mouth was filled with teeth designed to cut through any armor. But the most dangerous thing about the Void Stalker was its mind. It was smart. Very smart. It could learn from each hunt. It could remember every cadet it had tested, and it had. Tested many. "Show me the records," Dr. Nixara said to her computer. The wall lit up with images. Hundreds of cadets from dozens of species. All of them had faced the Void Stalker in their final test. All of them had been broken by it. The test was simple. Cadet was placed in a biodome that looked like a hostile planet. They were given basic survival gear. They were told they needed to survive for 48 hours. What they were not told was that the Void Stalker was hunting them. The creature never killed its prey. That was not the point. The point was to break their spirit, to make them understand. Fear. To show them that there was always something bigger and more dangerous in the galaxy. Every cadet who faced the Void Stalker came out changed. Some quit the academy immediately. Others stayed but never volunteered for dangerous missions again. A few went crazy from the fear, but all of them learned the same lesson. They were not the apex predator they thought they were. Cadet 4847. Species, Korthek. The computer read out loud. Duration before psychological break, 14 hours. Object attempted to fight the stalker directly. Stalker played with subject for 6 hours before subject began crying. Cadet 4851. Species. Zephyrian. The computer continued. Duration, 9 hours. Subject tried to fly away. Stalker demonstrated superior aerial hunting abilities. Subject landed voluntarily and curled into protective position. Cadet 4855. Species. Hydran. Duration, 22 hours. Longest resistance on record. Subject used water tactics, but Stalker adapted. Subject eventually entered catatonic state. Dr. Nixara clicked her mandibles together in satisfaction. The Void Stalker had never failed. It had tested cadets from every species in the Alliance. Each time, it proved that no matter how strong or fast or smart they thought they were still prey. The door behind her opened. Commander Velfor entered the lab. His yellow eyes looked at the cage with respect and fear. "Is it ready?" he asked. "It is always ready," Dr. Nixara replied. "The question is, are you sure about this human? The Stalker has never tested a human. Before, we do not know how they will react." Commander Velthor's scales rippled with anger. The human embarrassed the Academy yesterday. He finished last in every physical test. The other cadets are laughing at us for accepting his species into the Alliance. But he completed every test, Dr. Nixara pointed out. He did not give up. Completing is not enough. Commander Velthor slammed his fist on a table. "This is the Galactic Military Academy? We train warriors, not weaklings who crawl through mud." Dr. Nixara studied her creation through the glass. The red eyes were still watching them. The Void Stalker could hear their conversation. It understood what they were discussing. "There is something else," she said slowly. "I have been studying human history since their arrival. Did you know they're the only species in the Alliance that evolved from persistence hunters?" "What does that mean?" "It means their ancestors hunted by chasing prey until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. They did not use claws or teeth or venom. They used endurance. They never stopped chasing until their prey died from being too tired to run." "Any more?" Commander Velthar made his snake-laughing sound again. "How primitive. The Void Stalker will break him in hours." But Dr. Nixara was not laughing. She had read more about humans than Commander Velthor realized. She had studied their wars, their survival stories, their response to impossible situations. Humans did something that no other species did. When they were afraid, they did not always run or hide or fight. Sometimes they got angry, and when humans got angry, They became very dangerous. "When do we begin the test?" she asked. "Tomorrow, Commander," Velthor said. "I want the human to have one more day of normal training. Let him think he is getting better, and we will show him what real danger looks like." After Commander Velthor left, Dr. Nixara stayed in the lab. She walked closer to the cage. The Void Stalker moved to the glass wall. Its red eyes met her, black ones. "What do you think, my beautiful creation?" she whispered. "Will this human be like all the others? Or will he surprise us?" The Void Stalker tilted its head. For a moment, Dr. Nixara thought she saw something like curiosity in those red eyes. The creature had tested hundreds of aliens, but it had never tested a persistence hunter before. Meanwhile, 3 levels above, Teho was having dinner alone in the cadet mess hall. He ate simple food from Earth that he had brought in his bag: rice and dried meat. It reminded him of home. His body still hurt from the training. Tomorrow would bring more tests, more chances to prove himself. He did not know that Commander Velthor and Dr. Nixara were planning something special for him. He pulled out his sister's letter and read it again. "Humans do not give up. Ever." Teho smiled and put the letter away. Suman was right. Whatever the Academy threw at him, he would survive it. Humans always survived. In the depths of the Academy, the Void Stalker paced in its cage. Its red eyes glowed in the darkness. Tomorrow, it would hunt again. Tomorrow, it would test another prey. But for the first time in its existence, the apex predator felt something strange. Something it had never felt before when preparing for a hunt. It felt uncertain. Teho woke up when loud sirens filled his room. Red lights flashed on the walls. His door slid open, and Commander Velthor stepped inside. "Get up, human," the commander said. "Today is your final examination." "Final examination?" Teho rubbed his eyes. "But I have only been here for 3 days." "Some tests cannot wait," Commander Velthor replied. His yellow eyes looked excited. "Get dressed. Wear your combat uniform. Bring nothing else." Teho got dressed quickly. His hands were shaking a little. Something felt wrong about this. Final examinations usually happened after months of training, not days. Commander Velthor led him through parts of the Academy he had never seen before. They went down many levels. The hallways got darker and older. Fewer aliens walked around. "Down here? Where are we going?" Teho asked. "To the biodomes," Commander Velthor said. "You will be tested in a survival situation. 48 hours. If you survive, you pass. If you do not..." He made his snake-laughing sound. They reached a large room, filled with computers and viewing screens. Dr. Nixara was there with several other alien instructors. They all looked at Teho like scientists looking at a test subject. "Ah, the human arrives," Dr. Nixara clicked. "Are you ready for your test, Cadet Kong?" "I think so," Teho said. "Die." But his heart was beating fast. Dr. Nixara handed him a small backpack. "Inside you will find basic survival gear. Water for 1 day, food for 2 days, a knife, a fire starter, emergency communicator that only works in life-forwardless situations." "What kind of environment will I be in?" Teho asked. "Hostile planet." "Simulation," Commander Velthor said. "Rocky terrain, some water sources, day and night cycles. Weather changes. You must survive for 48 hours. "That sounds manageable," Teho said. The instructors looked at each other. Few of them made sounds that might have been laughter. "Follow me," Dr. Nixara said. They walked to a massive airlock door. Through the small window, Teho could see a huge space that looked like a real planet's surface. There were hills, rocks, small streams, and even clouds in the artificial sky. "Step inside," Commander Velthor ordered. Teho walked through the airlock. The door sealed behind him with a loud clang. He was alone. The biodome was enormous. It stretched for miles in every direction. The ground was covered with red rocks and small plants. In the distance, Teho could see mountains and forests. The artificial sun overhead felt warm on his face. A speaker crackled to life. "Your 48-hour test begins now," Commander Velthor's voice said. "Survive. That is all." Teho looked around. The place seemed peaceful, almost too peaceful. But his grandfather had taught him never to trust peaceful places during war. And this felt like war. He started walking toward a hill where he could get a better view. As he walked, he studied the ground, looked for tracks, signs of animals, anything that might be dangerous. That was when he found the first set of prints. They were huge, bigger than any animal prints he had ever seen on Earth. 6 toes, each ending in a claw mark. The prints were fresh, very fresh. Tahoe knelt down and studied them carefully. Whatever made these tracks was heavy, at least 300 pounds, and was walking on 6 legs, not for like most Earth animals. Okay, he said to himself, so I am not alone in here. He followed the tracks for a while. They led to a stream, then disappeared into the water. Smart animal. It knew how to hide its trail. Te-Ho found a good spot on the hill and set up a small camp. He made a fire and cooked some of his food. As the artificial sun set, he thought about his situation. He was being tested, that was clear. But something felt wrong about this test. Why were the instructors so excited? Why did they look at him like he was going to fail? And what made those huge tracks? As darkness fell, Tahoe heard sounds, not normal forest sounds. These were different, careful sounds. Something big was moving through the trees, trying to be quiet. Tahoe put out his fire and moved away from his camp. His grandfather had taught him this during their hunting trips. If something is stalking you, never sleep where you made your fire. He found a cluster of rocks and hid between them. From there, he could watch his old campsite. He waited. After an hour, something moved in the darkness near his abandoned fire. Tahoe could not see it clearly, but he could see its eyes. 2 red dots glowing in the dark. They were huge and bright and very intelligent. The thing sniffed around his campsite. It was looking for him, hunting him. Tahoe's heart pounded, but he stayed still. Whatever this creature was, it was big and dangerous. Its only advantage was that it did not know where he was. The red eyes moved closer to his hiding spot. Tahoe could hear breathing, if he controlled breathing. The creature was not just hunting randomly. It was tracking his scent. That was when Tahoe understood. This was not just a survival test. He was prey. Something had been put in here to hunt him. In the control room, Dr. Nixara and Commander Velthor watched on their screens. They could see everything through hidden cameras. Look how still he is, Dr. Nixara whispered. Most cadets would be running by now. The stalker has not even shown itself yet, Commander Velthor replied. Wait until the human sees what he is facing. On the screens, they watched the void stalker circle Tahoe's hiding place. The creature was 8 feet tall and covered in black fur. Its 6 legs moved without making any sound. Its red eyes glowed like fire, but the void stalker was not attacking. It was studying its prey, learning about this new type of creature. Why is it not engaging? Commander Velthor asked. Dr. Nixara checked her instruments. Its bio readings are strange. Heart rate is elevated. Stress hormones are high. It seems ... confused. Confused? The stalker is never confused. Back in the biodome, Tahoe waited in his hiding spot. The creature had stopped moving. It was just standing there. In the darkness, looking in his direction, Tahoe realized something important. The creature knew where he was, but it was not attacking. Why? Maybe it was waiting for him to make the first move. Maybe it wanted to see what he would do. Tahoe made a decision that surprised everyone watching. Instead of running or hiding better, he stood up. I know you are there, he said to the darkness. I can see your eyes. The void stalker went completely still. I do not know what you are, Tahoe continued. But I know you are hunting me. So let us get this over with. In the control room, alarms started beeping. What is happening? Commander Velthor demanded. Dr. Nixara stared at her instruments in shock. The stalker's bio readings are off the charts. Its brain activity is spiking. This has never happened before. On the screens, they watched as the void stalker stepped out of the shadows. For the first time, Tahoe saw his hunter clearly. It was the most terrifying thing he had ever seen. Bigger than a bear, with claws like swords and teeth like knives, its red eyes burned with intelligence and hunger. But Tahoe did not run. He did not scream. He just looked at the creature and nodded. You are beautiful, he said quietly. Very dangerous. But I am not going to make this easy for you. The Void Stalker tilted its head. In all its years of hunting, no prey had ever spoken to it like this. Most cadets begged or cried or tried to bargain. This human was different. Tejo reached into his pack and pulled out his knife. It was tiny compared to the creature's claws, but he held it ready. "Come on then," he said. "Let us see what you can do." For the first time in its existence, the Void Stalker hesitated. Something about this small, weak human made it uncertain. Something it could not understand. The hunt was about to begin. But for the first time, the apex predator was not sure who was the hunter and who was the prey. The Void Stalker stared at Tejo for a long moment. Its red eyes studied the small human who stood ready with his tiny knife. Then, without warning, the creature melted back into the shadows. Tejo blinked. 1 second the monster was there. The next it was gone, completely invisible. "Smart," Tejo whispered to himself. "You want to play games?" He knew the creature was still there, somewhere in the darkness, watching him, learning about him. This was not just a hunt. This was a test of intelligence. Tejo started moving, not running, just walking carefully through the rocky terrain. He kept his knife ready and his eyes open. Every few steps, he stopped to listen. The biodome was quiet except for the wind and the sound of water flowing somewhere nearby. But Tejo could feel eyes on him. The creature was following him, staying just out of sight. After an hour of walking, Tejo found what he was looking for. A narrow canyon with high walls on both sides. Only one way in and one way out. He smiled. This was perfect. Tejo walked into the canyon and sat down in the middle. He took out some food and started eating, acting like he had no idea he was being hunted. But while he ate, his hands were busy. He was using his knife to cut strips from his jacket. He was making something. In the control room, Dr. Nixara watched. With growing interest. "What is the human doing?" Commander Velther asked. "Why did he trap himself in that canyon?" "I do not know," Dr. Nixara replied. "But look at the stalker's readings. Its confusion is growing." On another screen, they could see the Void Stalker moving along the canyon walls above Tejo. The creature could easily jump down and kill him. But it did not attack. It was too curious about what the human was planning. Tejo finished his meal and stood up. He walked to the narrow entrance of the canyon and started working. He tied the strips of cloth between rocks, making an almost invisible tripwire. Then he gathered sharp stones and placed them carefully around the entrance. Anyone running through would step on them. After that, he found loose rocks on the canyon walls and balanced them carefully. A small push would send them falling. The Void Stalker watched all of this with growing amazement. This human was not just hiding or running. He was setting traps. He was preparing to fight back. No prey had ever done this before. When Tejo finished his preparations, he walked back to the center of the canyon and sat down again. He looked up at the canyon walls where he knew the creature was hiding. "I know you are up there," he called out. "I can smell you." This was a lie. Tejo could not smell anything. But his grandfather had taught him that predators respected other predators. Sometimes you had to act more dangerous than you really were. The Void Stalker's head appeared over the edge of the canyon wall. Its red eyes glowed in the artificial moonlight. "There you are," Tejo said calmly. "You are very good at hiding, but I am good at waiting." The creature made a sound. It was not quite a growl and not quite a purr. It sounded almost like a question. "You want to know what I am?" Tejo said. "You have never hunted anything like me before, have you?" The Void Stalker tilted its head. "I am human," Tejo continued. "We are persistence hunters. Do you know what that means?" Creature just stared. "This means we do not give up. Ever. You might be faster than me. You might be stronger than me. But I will. Keep coming. I will keep fighting. Until one of us is dead." Tejo stood up and picked up a rock. He threw it at the canyon wall near the creature's head. The Void Stalker did not flinch. "My grandfather told me stories about the old wars on Earth," Tejo said. "Humans fought creatures much bigger than them, Bears, tigers, wolves, we won. Because we never stopped fighting. We used tools, used our brains. We worked together. He picked up another rock. But I am alone here, so I have to use what I have. My brain, my hands. My refusal to quit, the Void Stalker was listening to. Every word. In the control room, Dr. Nixara was recording everything. Fascinating, she clicked. The Stalker is learning about humans. It has never encountered a species that talks during a hunt. Why does the human not just run? Commander Velthor asked. Because running would be pointless, Dr. Nixara replied. Look at his trap setup. He understands that he cannot outrun the Stalker, so he is trying to level the playing field. Back in the canyon, Tejo was still talking to his hunter. You know what the funny thing is? Said. I am not even scared anymore. I was scared when I first saw you. You are terrifying, but fear does not help me survive, so I pushed it away. Void Stalker moved along the canyon rim. It was getting closer to a spot where it could jump down. My sister told me something before I came here, Tejo continued. She said humans survived everything the universe threw at them. Ice ages, plagues, wars, asteroid impacts. We are still here because we adapt. We learn. We never give up. The creature stopped moving. Something in Tejo's voice had changed. It was not the voice of prey anymore. It was the voice of a predator talking to another predator. You want to test me? Tejo asked. Then come down here and test me properly. No more hiding. No more. Games, let us see which one of us is really the apex predator. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the Void Stalker did something that shocked everyone watching. He climbed down into the canyon, not jumping to attack, not stalking in the shadows. It climbed down slowly and stood 20 feet away from. Te-Ho. The two predators faced each other. Tejo was 5.5 feet tall and weighed 170 pounds. The Void Stalker was 8 feet tall and weighed over 400 pounds, but they looked at each other as equals. You respect me, Tejo said with surprise. You actually respect me. The creature made that purring, growling sound again. Have hunted hundreds of aliens, Tejo continued. But they were all prey to you. They ran or hid or begged. But I am not prey, am I? The Void Stalker took a step closer. What? You recognize something in me, Tejo realized. Something familiar. Another step closer. You see it too, don't you? We are the same. Both of us are hunters. Both of us are survivors. Both of us do whatever it takes to win. The creature was now only 10 feet away, close enough to kill Tejo. In one leap, but it did not attack. Instead, it sat down. In the control room, alarms were going off everywhere. This is impossible, Commander Velthor shouted. The Stalker never stops hunting. Dr. Nixara was frantically checking her instruments. Its aggression levels are dropping. Stress hormones are normalizing. It is treating the human as a packmate. That cannot be right. Look at the screens. On the monitors, they watched as Tejo slowly walked toward the sitting Void Stalker. He moved carefully, showing no fear, but also no aggression. When he was close enough to touch the creature, Tejo stopped. You are hurt, he said. There was a cut on the creature's front leg. Old but still bleeding a little. But Tejo pulled out his water bottle and poured some on a piece of cloth from his jacket. Hold still, he said. And then, in front of the shocked Academy staff, Tejo cleaned the Void Stalker's wound. The apex predator of the galaxy let a human tend to its injuries. This changes everything, Dr. Nixara whispered. When Tejo finished, he sat down next to the creature. Two apex predators resting together in the artificial moonlight. So what happens now? Tejo asked. The Void Stalker looked at him with its glowing red eyes. For the first time in its existence, it had found something it could not break. Something that was not prey. It had found an equal. The artificial sun rose over the biodome. Tejo woke up slowly, feeling warm. Something large and furry was lying next to him, sharing body heat. The Void Stalker was asleep. Its red eyes were closed, and it was breathing peacefully. One of its massive paws was stretched out near Tejo's hand. Tejo smiled. He had slept better than he had since arriving at the academy. Having another predator nearby felt ... right. Like having a packmate watching his back. In the control room, chaos had been going on all night. "Sir, Admiral Kurthik is here," technician announced. Admiral Kurthik was the supreme commander of the academy. He was a massive alien with 4 arms and armor-like skin. When he was angry, his whole body turned dark red. Right now, he was very red. "Explain to me, Admiral," Kurthik said in a voice like thunder. "Why my apex predator is sleeping next to a human cadet like a pet?" Commander Velthor was sweating. "Sir, the test did not go as planned. The human did something we have never seen before. Show me the recordings." For the next hour, Admiral Kurthik watched everything that had happened. He saw Tejo set traps, saw the Void Stalker's confusion. He saw the moment when Predator recognized Predator. "Play that part again," Admiral Kurthik ordered. Part where the human tends to the creature's wound. They watched as Tejo cleaned the Void Stalker's cut with gentle hands. The Admiral's 4 eyes narrowed. "In my 300 years of military service," Admiral Kurthik said slowly, "I have never seen anything like this." The human showed no fear, but more than that, showed compassion to something that was trying to kill him. "Sir, what should we do?" Commander Velthor asked. "Wake them up. Bring them both to me now." Back in the biodome, loudspeakers crackled to life. "Cadet Kong," Admiral Kurthik's voice boomed, "your test is over. Report to the extraction point." Immediately, Tejo sat up and looked at the Void Stalker. The creature's red eyes opened and looked back at him. "I guess this is goodbye," Tejo said sadly. The Void Stalker made a low rumbling sound. It sounded sad too. "Come on," Tejo said, standing up. "Let us go face the music." Yeah. The extraction point was at the center of the biodome. Tejo walked there slowly, and the Void Stalker walked beside him. They moved together like old hunting partners. A platform lowered from the ceiling. Admiral Kurthik stood on it, along with Commander Velthar and Dr. Nixara. Several other high-ranking Academy officers were there too. When the platform touched the ground, Admiral Kurthik stepped off. He was even bigger than Tejo had imagined, 10 feet tall and covered in natural armor. "Cadet Kong," Admiral Kurthik said, "do you know what you have done?" "I survived the test, sir," Tejo replied. "You did more than survive. You did something impossible." Admiral Kurthik looked at the Void Stalker. "This creature has tested over 400 cadets, has broken the spirit of warriors from every species in the Alliance. And you made friends with it." "I would not say friends, sir. More like, we understand each other. Explain." Tejo thought about how to put it into words. "We are both hunters, sir. We both do whatever it takes to survive. The difference is that humans learn to hunt together. We learn that showing mercy makes us stronger, not weaker." Admiral Kurthik walked closer to the Void Stalker. The creature watched him carefully, but did not move away from Tejo's side. "Dr. Nixara," Admiral Kurthik said, "what are your readings showing?" "The Stalker's biochemistry has changed completely," Dr. Nixara replied, clicking nervously. "Its aggression hormones are at the lowest levels we have ever recorded. Its pack bonding responses are off the charts. It has adopted the human. Adopted? Yes, sir? In its mind, Cadet Kong is now part of its pack. It will protect him. It will hunt with him. It will follow his lead." Admiral Kurthik was quiet for a long moment. Then he did something that surprised everyone. Laughed. 400 cadets, he said, shaking his massive head. 400 of the best warriors in the galaxy. And none of them thought to show kindness to their opponent. "Sir," Commander Velthar looked confused. "Do you not see what this means?" Admiral Kurthik asked. "This human did not just survive our ultimate test. He turned it around completely. He took our apex predator and made it his ally." The Admiral walked over to Tejo. "Tell me, Cadet, what would you do if I ordered you to leave this creature behind and return to normal training?" Tejo looked at the Void Stalker. The creature looked back at him with those intelligent red eyes. "With respect, sir," Tejo said carefully, "I would ask you to reconsider. This creature has been alone for years. It has been used as a weapon to break other beings. It deserves better. Even though it was sent to hunt you, especially because it was sent to hunt me, it was just following orders. But when it had the chance to kill me, it chose not to. That shows honor. Admiral Kurthik smiled. It was not a pleasant sight on his armored face, but it was a real smile. Commander Velthor, he said, you wanted to test this human to see if his species belonged in our alliance. What is your conclusion? Commander Velthor looked at Teho and the Void Stalker standing together. He looked at his instruments showing impossible readings. He looked at his fellow officers, all staring in amazement. Sir, Commander Velthor said slowly, I believe we have been testing the wrong things. Physical strength does not make an apex predator. Fear does not make a warrior. This human has shown us something we forgot, which is, true strength comes from knowing when not to use it. True courage comes from showing mercy to your enemies, and true leadership, Commander Velthor paused. True leadership means that even apex predators want to follow you. Admiral Kurthik nodded. Dr. Nixera, your creature is no longer Academy property. It now belongs to Cadet Kong. If he will have it, Teho looked down at the Void Stalker. What do you think want to be partners instead of enemies? The creature made that purring, growling sound and gently bumped its massive head against Teho's shoulder. I will take that as a yes, Teho said, grinning. Cadet Kong, Admiral Kurthik announced formally. You have passed your final examination with the highest marks in Academy history. You have also taught us something valuable about the nature of true strength. Thank you, sir. You are hereby promoted to Senior Cadet and appointed as a special instructor. You will teach other cadets about leadership, survival, and the proper treatment of allies. Teho's mouth fell open. Ow! Sir, I have only been here for 4 days. And in 4 days you accomplished something no cadet has done in 3,000 years. You turned our ultimate test into a lesson about compassion and leadership. Teho sat in his room writing a letter to his sister Suman. The Void Stalker lay on the floor beside his desk, watching him write. Dear Suman, he wrote, you were right. Humans do not give up. But more than that, we know when to fight and when to make friends. The Academy learned something today. They learned that the strongest predator is not the one who kills the most. It is the one who knows when killing is not necessary. I made a friend today, a very large, very dangerous friend. His name is Shinwu. I thought he should have a proper name, Love, Teho. As he finished the letter, Shinwu made a soft, rumbling sound. The creature liked his new name. Teho reached down and scratched behind one of Shinwu's ears. The most feared predator in the galaxy purred like a giant cat. Outside his window, other cadets were talking excitedly. Word had spread throughout the Academy. Human had not just passed the impossible test. It had changed it into something better. From now on, the Academy would test different things. Not just strength and speed and aggression. They would test wisdom, compassion, and the ability to turn enemies into allies. And they would remember that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one who chooses not to be dangerous at all. The Galactic Alliance had learned something important about humans that day. They were not just another species with useful technology. They were natural leaders. Even apex predators recognized it. In the depths of space, Earth received a message. More humans would be welcome at the Academy. Many more. The galaxy needed what humans had to offer. Teho fell asleep that night with his new partner watching over him. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new tests, new chances to prove that humans belonged among the stars. But tonight, a human and a monster slept peacefully together. Two apex predators who had found something better than dominance. They had found friendship,